proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears. Let's talk rallying, episode 21. This is the second part of our Donegal special, and this week, as I said last week, it's a bit like an RPM special. This week we look at the modifieds and the classes. So we speak to Kevin Gallagher, who won the two-wheel drive in class 14 in his Darien. We also speak to Brian Brady in the class 13 Civic. In Rally 4, then we catch up with Ryan Caldwell and Max McRae. And then in class 11F, we speak to Kevin Mclaughlin, and that's quite some story. And then the historic winner is Tommy O'Connell. So another jam-packed show. Connor Edwards joins us as usual. Connor, you're very welcome along.
Kevin, thank you very much. Great to be here again. I think we're having withdrawal symptoms, and we just can't let go of Donegal. We can't move on and just acknowledge the fact it's over, and we need to, think of next year.
Yeah, countdown started now. But we talked last week about the overall battle and how epic it was. Like the modified and right down through the classes were every bit as good, if not better, in some of the classes. But overall, the modified, it's all in together now as part of the main field. There's no separate rally. But we knew before the start that these class 14 guys, that was going to be mega, and it lived up to it all, didn't it?
Oh, Kevin, absolutely did. I watched two stages in each day, and I stayed for the full, run through each time. And the battles, in the midfield and stuff and down the field were fantastic. But genuinely, it was some great action there between Stafford and Gallagher and Gary Kieran thrown into the everywhere you looked, there was a battle going on somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Darien probably had the edge, but then, you took then, Declan Gallagher and started Gary Kieran and Ryan Loughran. Damien Turish giving the Darians a real good battle on the Friday. It was phenomenal. It was a joy to watch. And then class 13, who would have put the money on a Civic beating the Escorts and the Starlets there? You would never I wouldn't have given you odds on it anyway. That's for sure. So.
No, definitely not. And to see that. Honda Civic of Brian Brady's just, you're used to seeing the Hondas coming through, but that early, I was sitting on Knockalla going, wow, what's have I missed something somewhere? How come a Honda Civic's this far up the field? But it was fantastic to see.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And then Kevin Gallagher, going through Sunday with no reverse gear and no clutch. The clutch maybe not so important, but the reverse gear, there's always that chance of a spin or anything like that there, then you're snookered. So to have that in the back of his head and still come through and take the one, shows the quality of the man.
Absolutely. Slightest overshoot or going up a box junction somewhere and that's it, you're stuck. It's a 10-point turn probably to get out without reverse, and even then, that's somebody pushing you.
And throw into the mix in no clutch as well. And and James Stafford, not a man that's renowned for coming, Donegal is still fairly new territory for him. So to come up there and give the guys a good fight, it's brilliant. And Kevin Gallagher too, he mentions in the interview that he, had done a couple of rallies this year, but drove with the intention of getting to the finish, wanted mileage up in the car, was doing nothing heroic. And, we always know that Kevin goes hard on the Saturday when it comes into Knockalla in his home stages, but there was a game plan this year to go hard from the start and not leave himself a hill decline. I think that proved the point. But as I say, you mentioned that Gary Kieran. Gary Kieran, the guy was on the door handles everywhere you seen him the weekend, wasn't he? It's amazing.
Yeah, I know he was flat out. He really, really was. It was good to watch. And again, it's not like the Darians had it all their own way. We know on, dry tarmac, they're fantastically quick. But Friday morning, it was wet, it was damp, the roads were slippery and greasy, and so they did very well. That there was definitely a hindrance to them.
And that I was at the same location as you were for the first pass, and like Damien Tourish came down that road like a bat out of hell, didn't they? Like it was, everybody just was like, wow. It was one of them sites that will stay with you for a few years to come at least. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's it. No matter where you looked at this entry list for day one, from the get-go, stage one, they were all on it. There was nobody bedding themselves in or taking it easy. It was from the word go. It was, the fight was on.
And it sounds silly, but a 3-day sprint is the term that keeps jumping into your mind, isn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the approach. It wasn't a case of, oh, here, lads, let's just, get ourselves through to Sunday and then we'll fight. It was a case of, no, it was the other way around. It was literally, what do you call it? From zero on stage one, it was boom, they were gone.
As fast as they can for as long as they can, So, so I suppose without further ado, we'll hear from Kevin Gallagher, the winner of the two-wheel drive battle.
Oh yeah, look, would have always been following it and so on and so forth, and like I've I suppose competed in it now for a good few years, and look, it's a big thing in the county. Never mind for people who follow the rally, like. So
yeah, and it's since you started rallying, it's always been the one rally that's nearly always penciled into your calendar. I would say right from the start.
Oh, definitely. Like even for years and years, it's always the one that you'd have kind of built up towards and wanted to do and try and do well, and get the car right for it and get the speed built up for it.
Yeah, and back remember 2018, that you had a great battle that year with Ian Barrett, but unfortunately Ian nipped you. But for the amount of times you compete compared to these other guys, how difficult is it to step in and to have that speed that you need to be at that top level?
Well, we'd always try and do 2 or 3 events, leading up to it. Normally, like, so you kind of have a good enough idea where you're at, like, and then you just kind of, I suppose, like everybody else, you have to try and raise your game a wee bit then for Donegal.
Yeah. And we keep saying this every year that come Donegal, the guys left their pace. Isn't it unbelievable the way every year there always seems to find that extra, fraction of a second or a second? You keep wondering how is this going to keep going?
Well, I suppose the stages are, for the guys that's doing the rally for 5, 6, 8 years, like the stages are kind of, I know they're not always the same every year, but at least maybe half of them is going to be pretty similar. And if you've done it in previous years going back, like, they'll be you'll have done them before at some point, like.
I suppose all that then, you can look back at your own car or whatever, you can sort of study up where you might be able to gain a wee fraction here and a fraction there, kind of thing.
Look, you need to put in the prep beforehand, and same as that, I would have been watching back old videos and whatnot, just trying to get it in your head, try and get a wee age for when you go and do your recce.
Yeah, and you're always been kind of associated with the Donegal stage, I suppose, being your local stage, but so they're always ready for your big charge Saturday morning. Bit of a change of tactic this year. You were on it right from the get go. I think you were like second fastest maybe in the first stage, but come Friday evening you were leading. Was that intentional? Was that something you yourself and Ryan had planned before the rally started?
I will, like other years, like when I don't know, I suppose in the Darien 17, 18, 19, we would always kind of sat back a wee bit on Friday, and but you're always sitting in maybe half a minute, or I think in 18 when we finished second, or 40 seconds down coming out of the Friday, which you can't really do that, like. So we just kind of said we'd push on and be there or be closer anyway.
Yeah, and I was listening to Gary Kern being interviewed there on the Irish Valley podcast. Like, the banter that goes on between you guys, he's always going on about you and Ryan. You said the 2 paddles for your canoe wasn't fair. The Darien seems to take a fair wee bit of stick, but you still have to drive the car.
Oh, you do look I like the Darien, and I know, they probably do have a little bit of an advantage over the Escort, the handle well and the traction down well at the back and stuff. They're just a different car really.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose if the certain stages and certain conditions, you're not going to race an Escort and a Darien together, but then vice versa, you'll go to a certain event and the Darien doesn't suit. They're a lot wider than an Escort.
Yes.
They're probably 5 inches in the wheel track, and they're wide car.
Yeah. And then come Sunday morning, it's difficult enough even to manage a one, but to then go into that with no clutch and no reverse gear, does that be playing in the back of your mind that you can't afford to have a spin or a stall? Does that bring an extra pressure then on?
Oh, it does. Look, we knew on Saturday evening we'd lost reverse gear, but you kind of just, once you get into the stage, you have to put it out of your head. And I suppose you do be watching your braking in that a little bit more. That you're not going to be braking into the last few meters. You just need to watch yourself that you're not going to spin or do anything silly. Then when we lost the clutch then on Sunday morning, didn't matter about the reverse gear anyway. It wasn't a case we're going to be able to use it anyway. So it kind of was what it was.
And then to finally get over the finish line, then Atlantic Drive, roll down into the Rossapinna, or not the Rossapinna, sorry, the Mount Errigal, that. Knowing that you have done it finally, it must be a fantastic sensation.
Oh, it is. Yeah, look, it's brilliant to win it. Especially when I was close a few times before. Look, you need a lot of luck with Donegal. It's a very long event. It's never over till it's over. I suppose you even seen that with the international guys. It just went all up in the air on Sunday.
Yeah.
You'd think when I suppose Callum Devine went out, you'd think Matt Edwards just had to sort of drive to the finish, but you never know what'll happen.
No, that's for sure. And even for yourself, a half spin or anything at all, a puncher, as we've seen with Alistair Fisher, it can just turn the whole thing in his head as well too. So as you say, you need a certain bit of luck, but in some ways, then you make your own luck too, don't you? It's the preparation that goes in before the event all pays off towards the end.
Oh, it does. Yeah, look, you have to put a good effort into that event if you want to do well in it. And the thing with it as well, it's I suppose it's like Knockalla, we would have, other years sort of banked on it that you're going to be able to take maybe 8 or 10 seconds off other guys, but you kind of have to put the effort into every stage, and you believe it that you can push the whole way from start to finish.
Yeah, and as well, now we're talking about you winning the rally, having your engine in the back of the car, that, as it even makes it even more special if it's possible.
It does. Look, yeah, it's nice to do it. You don't really think about that when you're in and driving it.
Uh-huh.
But no, it's nice to you know what you have and you know what it can do.
Mm-hmm. And this has become your 2.5 and your 2 liter. All engines right across the range is the ones to have now. Whether it's class 11, class 13, class 14, whatever. They all want the Kevin Gallagher engine. Isn't that a fantastic for you as a business that from a small business started up and outside Rathmullen and Donegal, that's now the engine of choice?
Oh, it is. Yeah, look, it's nice to have that, and I've a lot of very good customers and that, and look, I appreciate them all as well. It's just, I suppose, up to Donegal, it's sort of a very busy time. We just crazy there for the 2 months before it. Just even the lads there working for me and that, they'll be doing big hours and that, and it's tough going.
You must be doing long days and nearly a lot of nights too, getting all the engines done. You're building engines, and then not only that, but then you're mapping them then on top of that as well.
I know. Look, it takes a lot of time, and you kind of have to plan out what you're doing, and and I suppose you come up to Donegal too, you do be turning away stuff that maybe you wouldn't normally in that, but you kind of just have to. You can only do what you can do in the time you have. So.
Yeah. And like, you talk. I remember you saying, was it Carlo or something? There was, at least 40, if not 50, competitors out with an engine that you had worked on at some point. Like Donegal, the numbers must have been phenomenal. That went through your.
I'm not right sure. I can't remember now. Like Carlo, maybe might have been somewhere around 30 or thereabouts. Right. But I know Donegal there were probably close to 50 engines out. Like so, it's a fair number. All right.
And like in the workshop, how many guys have you working to you that's able to keep up with that demand?
Well, there are 4 of us there all together. Like so, look, they're all very good lads. Like all of their own bit to play. Like, and I suppose they've all been there for a good few years now, so that they know what they're about and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like that is testament to you then, as well as them other 3 guys, that you have full trust in them, that you can go and concentrate and do your thing with the rally, and they're then to if there is any wee niggles over the weekend or whatever, they're there to pick them up.
I will suppose say like for Donegal we done like Monaghan and Carlow this year, but like for those rallies we would have been watching ourselves big time, because like if something happened or you damaged the car, you probably wouldn't have the time to if you had to spend a week at it to do it and get ready again. So you just be watching yourself that wee bit more.
Yeah, it was all in the back of your head. You're saving the car for June, and these.
Well, that's what you're building up towards. Like you're only there to get mileage and get the notes and get your head into the notes and stuff again. Like because I suppose before Monaghan there we probably weren't out since. I think it might have been maybe the mini stages and started 20, so we kind of over 2 years out of it.
And now you have got that elusive one. Is there anything else in the pipeline now for 2022, or just pick and choose your events?
No major plans. Look, maybe later on in the year, maybe do the harvest or something. But no immediate plans anyway. Get stuck back into work really, and try and get caught back up to where we should be. And that's kind of the main plan at the minute. Anyway.
Yeah, I should get back onto an even keel as such. Yeah.
That's it. Get back to kind of reasonably normal working hours. And,
whatever normal is you.
That's it. Look, it's tough too on like Michelle and have 2 wee ones. So like when you're working big hours, it's not fair on them either. So you can't do it all the time.
No, yeah, there has to be a balance somewhere along the line, doesn't there, too, as well? So.
There does, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Kevin, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And again, congratulations. I'm delighted to see, I've seen the work you've put in over the last few years, and to see it all come together is fantastic to see.
All right. Cheers for having me on. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
No bother.
Kevin, great to hear from Kevin Gallagher there. What do you call it? Not only is he exceptionally quick, but a world-renowned engine builder as well. Another, couple worth a mention. Obviously with Martin McGee, set a phenomenal time on Atlantic Drive. And then Mark Alcorn. Okay, we know Garton is his home stage, but still 4th fastest overall on the first run. And then on the second run, he took another 4 seconds off that time. Like, incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And like, the first pass over the stage, the heat was still on, the top guys were all still pushing like mad at that stage, And then, as you say, to take a 4 seconds off that again in the second pass, I know his name's Psycho, but it must have been some run. Another man has to be worth mentioning. Like anybody that knows Frank Kelly, he does an end of rally report every rally, and he mentioned Adrian Hillington, who must have hit everything that wasn't screwed down in Donegal. And like you have to laugh, but like the guy, like they had to put the car on the jig to straighten it on Friday night. Went out again Saturday, hit it again. I think he hit it again Sunday, but still, it didn't seem to bother him. Everywhere you seen him, he was flat out, big slides, big speed. You have to take your hats off to guys like Adrian, who never gives up.
Oh no, absolutely. At no point did I see Adrian backing off anywhere.
It's not in his vocabulary at all, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
But without further ado, we'll cut across now to Brian Brady, the star of Class 13. Brian, suppose you started out your career only a few short years ago. You've been started out in the 106 into an Integra and Civics. You want to just give us a sort of brief outline of your career to date?
Yeah, I suppose it's 9 years at this stage when I started out. The juniors Donegal International was supposed to be my first rally, but we kind of ran into trouble the day before with the car, so we had to pull our entry. And after that, I kind of sold that car and I went into the 106 then. I think 2019 Baltic Glass maybe was my first rally. So, yeah, I suppose it came on a lot since then. Basically, it was a cage in that car, and that was with the height of it. Yeah, I think I had that car for maybe 2 years, and then I went on to the Integra, and sure, a lot of people recognise me from Integra back in them days too.
Yes.
Because it was a discreet looking car, to be fair to it. And I think we made an attempt at the national championship that year, but like Manny's, it takes a few years to be on the pace there. And I think 2017, then we made a proper attack at the junior championship in a Civic, it was an EK Civic, and I think we won it that year. So we had a good battle with Johnny Traynor, late Johnny Traynor, and Michael Boyle. So there was three of us there in contention into the last round, and we were lucky that we came out the right side of that. Championships are a long road, so
yes.
Then I think it was kind of a career break then again for a year. And 2019, I was building that corn car I have during 2018 and 2019. There was a new junior series brought out by Motorsport Ireland, the Dual Circuit Championship. So the modifications we had done with the car for that car for 2019, we kind of demodified it again to suit them regs.
Right.
And we made an attack at that championship in 19 then, and won it. That was our first time on gravel, and tell you, it's a great experience. Cork Forestry will be coming up now. I don't know, 2 months time or something. And
yes,
it's definitely the pick of the bunch anyway. So the stages down there were class. It was a 2-day rally as well. So it was on the second day that we won the championship below. So I think we had a round to spare. So and then from that, we kind of, there was a decent enough prize given to us from that championship, part of Billy Coleman Award, and we went and purchased a Fiesta Rally 4 car, I think maybe 4 days before COVID hit in Ireland. So I was on the road down to Cork to do West Cork Rally on that Thursday, and sure we got word that it was going to be cancelled, and then we had the whole pandemic after that. So basically that Fiesta had sat in the shed then for a year, and we went for the British Championship last year. To be fair now, the pace that's over there, like you had William Crichton, sure you can see where he is now.
Of course, yeah.
And Rory Bell, like we were going to try to compete against them, and we were thereabouts. Like, you know, there could have been 10 in that class of ours, and we were within the top 3 the majority of times, but just with bad luck and everything, we kind of decided we'd pull pin early on the championship because it wasn't just going to 100% plan.
Yeah.
And sure, the Civic had been always there as well, and I kind of had put the 2 litre into the Civic at the end of the junior championship in 19. We done Fastnet and we done Donegal Harvest with it, so it was a good warm up. And then my ambition this year was Donegal International. So it's kind of, I was going to keep the mileage down in the car as best I could, because obviously you want to keep the car
as
relatively
fresh as
new.
possible.
Like 3 hectic days, and it was hectic. So
and like, you know, going down the class 13 route in the Civic, you know, we always kind of think of class 13 as like rear wheel drive, your Mark IIs or your Starlets. Like a fairly brave decision to go down the route of a Civic in that class as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like from the 11S Civic, like we were always competitive in it, and we would have been thereabouts with class 13 cars then. So Keith McMullen in Cork, sure, he's mad. He just wants to try everything new and all this. So we had established that the gearbox, we have a 3-mode gearbox in the car, and the reliability in it is super. So that was one issue that you're kind of afraid of, going bigger power that it break. And kind of when we knew that was okay, and we kind of our shafts is the next thing, and we think we have them sorted now as well.
Yeah.
So putting the power into the car shouldn't be an issue. Like so, but in saying that, now you coming on to the Sunday stages in Donegal, which I think we had whatever 30 seconds of a lead at one point. You're kind of listening to every rattle in the car. Just you don't know what was happening, because we did run into trouble even on the first stage Sunday morning. We came across a jump and it broke a wire, a live wire basically coming from the alternator, and the car stopped to charge and it started missing. And this is mid stage, and all of a sudden it cleared out of it. But the minute we got to the end of the stage, the issue reoccurred. But like, just lucky we could fix it alongside the road. We knew what we know, like knowing the car yourself is a big
You'd built it yourself, you knew every nut and bolt on it basically at this stage. Yeah.
So no, but sure, nobody can take from the Civic now. Like it has won Donegal International, and like the pace up there, even with the class 14 lads, I think the pace that has come on since COVID has exited Ireland, like the class 14 lads are in a different league altogether again. So because we would have been hoping to be close to, like, in Fastnet and in Donegal Harvest back in 19, like we were thereabouts with them, but since even in Monaghan, like they're after up and down.
They're a different league at the moment altogether, aren't they?
Yeah, but sure, it's a different class, and that's it. Like, you know,
that's it. Yeah. And like, even, you know, looking at the overall results, you were mixing it in that way, our 5 Fiestas and Rally 2 Fiestas and things as well, you know, and the overall, like, you know, and never in your wildest dreams on Friday morning did you ever think you'd be mixing it with them guys, you know, too, at the same time. So
yeah, exactly. No, because we started out Friday, like we were whatever back in mid-80s on our seeded list, and kind of a few cars in front of us let us by at the beginning of stage 1, because they must have been fearful. But I didn't think, like, because there were local lads as well, and I was like, we just stay where we are, and I was happy to stay where I was. And then we did catch a car on stage 1, so he kind of we lost maybe 5 seconds max. But, that was the only issue we had catching cars, and sure, Saturday then we were all seated back to where our results was. So yeah, no, I couldn't get over it. Like, sure, likes of Barry Mead was unlucky there on Sunday. He broke down, like he was second to us, and you know, Johnny Jordan, another man that has been in Donegal for many times, and he broke down Friday. Like, so it's just hard to, if everybody had got a clean run, where whatever it would have been, but no, we would have still been thereabouts.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you know, you're up there battling right from the start. You know, you can't take that. You know, you didn't inherit the one. You took. You know, you're in the lead Friday. I think from stage 4 or 5, you got into the lead, and it's probably more difficult to maintain the lead almost than to be, you know, charging back up through the field. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I don't even know. I was getting into the car and I was putting the helmet on, and I was getting to the end of the stage as quick as I could. I wasn't even looking at times in a way. But we had an issue then. It kind of worried us a small bit with the short services at the weekend. There was a lot of work for the lads in service to do. And on stage 6, the last stage Friday evening, we kind of noticed that there was a thumping in the car when we were going down the gearbox, and we kind of figured the back engine mount had broke. And one thing and another, with other jobs, we didn't get doing it Friday night in service, and it was a Saturday morning job, and we didn't get it fixed anyway, so we had to go out and mind the car, and sure, we lost. I think we could have lost maybe 25 seconds Friday or Saturday morning due to that issue. So I think there was only 5 seconds coming out of that service again, but we pushed on then again, I think, and sure, every stage 4 or 5 seconds all add up at the end of the day. Like. That's for sure. And like, you know, that pays testament to the guys you have back in, you know, in the service area for you, that you knew once they had the time to be able to do that job to let you get on with your job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in saying that, there was a few passerbys that came in to give us a hand. They could see because even a lot of people probably seen, and they thought I hit the car, but I had the front bumper off the car at one stage on Friday, and that was pure down to not having the time to put it back on coming out of service. So, we got that back on then the next service again, but it was all very tight going. I wouldn't be a man to get stressed now, but I was starting to worry. That's inside of their one stage. So,
but you talk about other men jumping in. That's the one great thing we always keep saying in this podcast about Irish rallying is the way that other guys beside the other service guys will all pull in and it doesn't matter what happens on the stages. That's on the stages, but in the service area, everybody pulls together to make sure that man gets out. And your guys will probably do it somewhere down the line for somebody else as well.
Exactly. Sure, I think it was Ali Fisher. He got the puncture, and everybody was changing the wheel for him there side of the road. It's a small sport, and everybody in it has all the same ambition.
And I think Christopher O'Callaghan too had issues, and I think it was Saturday, and the amount of guys that were around fixing him as well too.
We had his car basically on its side at the start of Knockalla at one stage. I think it was prop shaft or something like that. Well, it's all good.
Absolutely. So then you talked about Sunday morning, like that last stage, Atlantic Drive. Then in the Sunday evening, you must have been hearing every knock and rattle and bang that was going through the car.
Yeah, definitely. Because we came out of last service, and I think we had 20-something seconds on Barry Mead, and he broke down on that Garton stage then. So that left us with a minute coming on to High Glen and Atlantic Drive. So one stage I wouldn't like to have to be pushed on was High Glen, because I don't know if it was just that I wasn't concentrating enough, but I found it very hard to get into it now, because I wanted to get to the finish of that stage. Yes. And Atlantic Drive, it was a tricky stage to catch you out, and sure, seeing Matt Edwards, that corner, like it noticeable how it happened, like it tightened and it double tightened, like so. You have to listen. Like, your notes are crucial, and I suppose for being our first time in Donegal, I think, to be fair, we made good enough notes to be able to commit to what we were doing. So.
Yes, because we always hear drivers saying about Donegal, it's very difficult to go there the first time and be competitive, because there's a guy that's been doing it 6, 7, 8 times. So to go there and have a good set of notes and drive to them, it's vital.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's only, I think we had one close one on Fanad at one stage, and that was purely down to distraction because of the back mounting the car. We were kind of clutching down the gearbox and just trying to be gentle on it, and it was pure distraction that we went up on the bank. And then on the notes side of things, we done it the 2 times we were in Knockalla. There was a kind of at the end of the main road, we were coming across the crest, and whatever line I was taking, I was always ending up in the ditch on the left-hand side. I don't know why or what made me do that, but it happened the 2 times anyway, so that's a note we have to tweak if we're going to go again next year.
You'll have it marked for next year to change.
Yeah.
So, like, Brian, now you can call yourself a Donegal Rally Class 1er. Like, I would say that's something you'll be delighted to have on your CV. Where do you see yourself going now? Is there anything planned for the rest of the year, or just pick and choose your events as you go?
Yeah, I'll just pick and choose. I might try maybe Cork Forestry with the car and see how it happens, but I'd love to do Baltic Glass. I think that's end of September, and after that, I have no real plans. We'll see then. I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd love to go every weekend. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
Especially the buzz after last weekend, I was itching there again to go this weekend. Like, but it's a draining out week. Like, between recce and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a rally Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like.
I thought on Monday you still be way up, you're still on that heightened level, but then as the week goes on, you get further and further down.
No, it takes a while to come off that now, so it will.
Yeah.
And definitely, it can't be bad. Like, to say I won a junior championship as a national junior champion as a driver, and I won the international junior championship as a navigator, and to win the Dual Surface Championship as a driver as well, and now a Class 13 win in Donegal. Like, sure, if I had to say that 9 years ago, I would have been.
Yes, you'd have took it with both hands and run with it, wouldn't you? That is for sure. It always looked great to catch up with Brian there. Such a lovely young chap. Also caught up with the Rally 4 contenders, Ryan Caldwell and Max McRae, to hear their stories from last weekend as well. So, Ryan, you've been a drifter for a few years there, always interested in rally, and I suppose from the family, you had no other option, but the quarry sprint run by Oma Motor Club last year was the first rally. Was it good to get behind the wheel of a rally car eventually?
I know. Well, my father used to rally, and I always wanted to rally, and then they wouldn't let me. So, but I eventually got the rally car, and then I done the sprint here, and Derek Job gave me a Lennon car for the sprint that was in our quarry. You know, we actually done pretty good in it. We won our class, so that started
the bug bit. Then there was no turning back.
No turning back. So we got Aidan convinced to buy an Opel Adam R2 car, and then I started from there.
Yeah, and the success started to come quite soon, and in the Opel Adam, as you talked about there, and then for 2022, you decided to go down the route of the Irish Tarmac Championship, and it's going really well for you so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Touch wood, it's brilliant, man. So it's definitely we're really enjoying it. So, but the Bushwhacker was our first rally in the Opel. It was the first time ever doing notes, so I didn't even know notes at that time. But we've come on to them pretty quick, so it is.
Yeah. And you've been so lucky having somebody like Grace O'Brien sitting beside you, who's very experienced but also very level-headed. She'd be very good at keeping you right.
I know Grace is very good in the notes now. She keeps me right. Keeps me right every rally. Peggy McKinney sat with me there in the Maiden City rally. Grace couldn't come, so she couldn't. But now we get on well too. So definitely, we won our class there as well.
Brilliant. And coming from a drifting background, like having somebody then in your ear telling you what to do, it must take a wee bit of getting used to.
That take a wee bit of getting used to, hey, but no, it came very well. So it did. So now we're happy enough now. I don't get me wrong, I like it drifting. I love it drifting, but it's just the seat time in the rallying it's something else. Like you're always doing rallying, is where the drifting you're in and out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're running away lasting maybe an hour, and then as where the rallying, it's all seat time, like.
Absolutely.
So it is.
Yeah. And then like as I say, you went down the route of the Tarmac Championship this year. Like a massive step going to rallies like Galway, West Cork, the Circuit Ireland, the household names when it comes to rallying. And you've took to it like a duck to water.
I know. We started off in Galway, hey, when we won the class in Galway, so we had to keep going. So we actually done a lot of rallying at the start of the year to get a bit of seat time in the car, but we're just going to focus on Irish Tarmac and Irish Forest now the rest of the year.
Absolutely. And Circuit Ireland, West Cork, Killarney as well in the mix there. But you're a Tyrone man yourself, so Donegal is pretty much a home rally for you. That must have been special getting the opportunity to compete in Donegal at the weekend. I
remember watching Donegal back in 2010 and 12 and always wanted to do Donegal, but I eventually got to do it.
And that must have been pretty special, say the likes of Mclaughlin, Fanad, Atlantic Drive, sitting in the start line of those stages that you had, you talked about growing up going to watch.
Yeah, I grew up watching my father doing them rallies, so I always wanted to do Donegal and always says I would do Donegal, and my mother was never ever agreed to it, but now we got her convinced anyway.
Yeah, and you got second in the class there at the weekend, behind Jason Dixon. The championship, you've a healthy lead there, I think, at the moment, haven't you?
I know we have a good lead there now. So we have Jason. He was going very hard the weekend. We couldn't match his pace with. We matched it in a couple of stages, but he won the class. Fair play to him. He did a good run now, definitely. So he has.
And that was your first 3-day rally. How did you find that?
First 3-day rally, I was ready to go to sleep on the Saturday evening, putting the gas. So it was a tough rally now, definitely. It was a tough rally to get to the end. So it was.
And then I suppose
I enjoyed every moment of it. Yeah, definitely did.
Absolutely, yeah. And I suppose the next thing you're looking at then will be, I suppose, Cork.
Cork went in. I think there's a forest round there too, is there?
There is. You're right. Sorry, the Moonraker's coming up then the next few weeks as well too.
We're actually thinking about doing it and then do Cork 20.
Absolutely, yeah, it's very good. Very
So
good.
it is.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention to you, you had a run out in the family R5 earlier in the year there. What did you make of that experience?
What an experience. Hey, you wouldn't want to get back into the R4, but no, I'll stick with R4 for another year. Yeah, it's too big a step, sort of.
Uh-huh. But like you have to take great heart when you see the likes of Eamon Kelly, Michael Boyle, who learned the craft and the front wheel drive car to make the step. So if you show the pace in the Rally 4 car, it seems to be the logical step really almost from it.
I actually think an R5 would be easier drove, but I think if you were if you're full speed in the R4, it would help then going to an R5, But Eamon Kelly, they're absolutely smashing it in that R5 car. Like, it's where I had to start learning notes again because notes was a lot faster,
Okay, yes.
It was just a bit of a bigger step, but no, I enjoyed it too. So it is. I actually came onto the car in the last stage, so I was ready to go home.
You were ready to start at that point.
I was ready to start, and everybody else was ready to go home.
You never know if you're good, you might get another wee run out in it before the end of the year.
If we're good, work hard enough and make another run out.
Max, we spoke before Donegal, and we just thought we'd have a quick catch up with you afterwards. What was your Donegal experience like?
It's definitely everything it lives. Well, it's everything I've been told about and everything I was hoping it to be, if not more. But yeah, it was a very tricky rally and definitely the trickiest I've done. And I've definitely learned more than I ever have from other rallies I've done in my career so far. Not that it's been big, but so far I've definitely learned a lot from the Donegal rally, especially in terms of writing notes and committing to the notes on such tricky stages, and they're just completely different to what I've ever driven. So in that sense, I've definitely learned a lot over the whole weekend.
Excellent. And we think of Donegal and we think of the classics like Donegal, Atlantic Drive, Fanad, and them. We know that the reputation of those stages, go beyond Ireland. Did they live up to your expectations?
They definitely did. It was definitely a shock when I saw the amount of people standing on Donegal. And that was pretty special. So to be kind of as close as you can get to the crowds in a World Rally event, if not more people, is pretty cool. And just to see all the people, I saw a couple of Scottish flags there, so that was pretty special. And yeah, Atlantic Drive, that's a pretty intense stage. You have to be. There's definitely no relaxing, even though it's the last stage of the rally. It's definitely one of the trickiest stages of the Saturday, Sunday. All the stages were amazing, and I can't complain with any of them. They were just had a great time and got into a rhythm, and it was just all round. It was just a good weekend.
Excellent. And like we've seen from the social media side of things, you built up a strong friendship there with Eamon Kelly and Johnny Mulholland. Two great lads. I'm sure they helped you bed into Donegal as well.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Donna Kelly is Eamon's dad, and he helped us out with getting it's actually Eamon's car on tarmac trim. So it was awesome. I can't thank them enough for letting us use the car over the weekend. And yeah, we definitely formed a good friendship over the 3 days that we were there. Apart from the recce days, obviously, but over the rally days, we definitely formed a good friendship. And by the end of it, I was like to call them good friends of mine in the rallying world. But yeah, they're both great young guys and great young drivers, and I'm looking forward to going against them properly in Nicky Grist in 2 weeks.
Excellent. And then like meeting Ari Vatanen, who was over there over the weekend as well. Like I know for me personally, like it was a boyhood dream. Like for yourself, like a name synonymous with rallying, with your Uncle Colin, even with your dad and your grandfather. Like Ari Vatanen he goes beyond rallying. He's a superstar in his own right, isn't he?
Yeah, he was definitely a superstar when he's rallying, and he's even a superstar now. And yeah, it's cool because you don't meet many drivers now that were in the Group B era, and just had that little bit of a screw loose to drive those cars how they were driven. So it was really cool to meet him, and he's an awesome guy. He was really nice to everyone he saw, and he had a little bit of a joke around with me, telling me there wasn't enough damage on the car after the rally, which is quite difficult. But yeah, it was pretty surreal to be talking to him and shaking his hand. So I'm definitely grateful for that.
Excellent. And then, we have to mention your dad and your grandfather. We all know the respect that Jimmy's held in Ireland, but for you to see that from a personal point of view must have been very special then too.
Yeah, it was quite eye-opening to see the amount of people that are still there for the family, and Jimmy and my dad, Alistair. Jimmy's my gramps he was a superstar over the weekend. He had more people coming up to him than a lot of people at the rally, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see. It's pretty special to see. It's definitely puts a smile on my face as well as his face. Probably a bigger smile than mine. He loves seeing all the fans and interacting and getting photos, and he loves all of that stuff. So it definitely put a smile on all of our faces to see that.
Yeah, because going over towards the finish room, I heard them all chanting his name as he was walking down the road. Where else would you get it?
Oh, he's a superstar.
And then, this weekend past, you were in Goodwood, a completely different experience for you. But that must be, for a petrol head, it must be heaven.
Yeah, it was pretty special to be there. It was very surreal to be standing and let alone driving at Goodwood Festival speed, because I've always grown up watching the video compilations of the cars going up the hills and of the rally stage and all that. So it was pretty cool to be there and actually witness the amount of crowds and cars, special cars that are there at the weekend. And I was on the rally stage the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. In my uncle's ex-Legacy and ex-Focus WRC car. So that was just something else on its own. That didn't feel real. That was a bit of a dream come true. So I can't thank Steve Rimmer from Dirtfish enough and Ian Gwynn from BGM Sport enough for that. And also got the opportunity to drive the Audi Quattro up the hill, which is even more of a dream come true. You don't even, it's hard to even think about what I got to drive up the hill. So I just can't thank them enough.
Yeah, probably your generation, that's almost like PlayStation-esque, with the chance to drive them cars, and to actually sit in them, to sense them, to smell them, to almost taste them. It must be magic.
It is. It's a dream come true to even sit in the car or see it in person. You never see those cars really ever now, because they're all in museums or not many people have them. So it was actually a dream come true to sit in it, let alone drive up the Goodwood Hill climb. And unfortunately, I had to stop halfway due to a red flag, but it was still a pleasure to drive, and it hasn't really sunk in that I actually drove that car up the hill.
Well, Max, I know you've a busy schedule ahead of you of the McRae stages and Nicky Grist coming up now in the next few weeks. So the best of lucks, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Lovely catching up with Max McRae there, really loved Donegal by the sound of that. And then, Goodwood, it has to be on the to-do list, and, have the opportunity to drive his Uncle Tom's Focus and then the Audi Quattro. I know for me it would be boyhood dream stuff. Still only a boy.
He is 18 years of age and only just turned 18, when he came to Donegal. To be given that responsibility as well of driving those iconic cars, just incredible. And it must have from an emotional family point of view for him to get to drive Colin's Focus. You can only imagine what it meant to him.
Absolutely. And how mature a head must he have in that, those young shoulders to be, given that opportunity and to take it and not do something silly as well too, which is, that is huge. And he come to Donegal and drove for 3 days, didn't put a mark in the car hardly. That's a young guy that's definitely going places.
Absolutely. And I think his drive in Donegal was phenomenal. To come here with all the media attention that he got, the fact that his grandfather, Jimmy, was there, previous winner of the event. And as you say, not a scratch, not a mark on that car. There wasn't even a story that came out of Donegal of him having, a mishap anywhere or an overshoot or a spin. He really did have a solid, clean drive.
Absolutely. And then, this podcast, we're all about, the positivity and the good stories that come out of rally. And I think Donegal had, them in bucket loads, we've seen the photos of Alistair Fisher, that, the guys changed in the wheel for him, trying to get his brakes fixed before he started Atlantic Drive. Chris Callahan, the car up on the side, and 4 or 5 boys working at it, trying to get him onto the stage. But like one story, I think Kevin Mclaughlin, if you looked at it in paper, he had a straightforward run to class 11F, but it was anything but that. But I think it's better if Kevin tells you the story himself. So Kevin, we're looking at the results there from Donegal, class 11F. It looked comfortable. You won by over 2.5 minutes at the finish up, but it probably wasn't as straightforward as what it looks.
No, it wasn't really. No, the boys been on a brave effort now for the week and the actual 3 days of the rally. The gearbox has been out of the car 3 times over the weekend. Two clutches and a gearbox on Sunday morning. 25 minutes at the end up to change the box was just class. So but it was a push the way to the end, still.
And before the rally started, you had how you could put it very mildly, drama.
It's a lot of drama. We had bit of a tumble, all right. Quick test on Sunday before the rally. Went to put new pads in the car. Took her up 4th, 5th run. Took another follow run and lost it on a bit of a bump in the 4th gear, and it just kind of end over end kind of job. Just.
And like at that stage, you think the rally's over? Have to pull your entry. You've been building up the whole year for this, and then gone.
Yeah, I got out of the car and I thought, is it bad? I wonder, is it that bad? And I kind of walked around, and the boys got towed off the road, and we got a shuttle then and took it to my cousin's shed, Lames, and we started dissecting the car then from there. Just the team of lads came through. It was unbelievable. They were coming out of everywhere.
And what all did you have to do to the car to get
the back of the car was badly damaged, more so than the front. One quarter panel. The roof could have fixed, but we had to take it off to get the quarter panel off. So I had a roof, and I just changed the roof. We actually never broke the windscreen or anything. It was strange, and the doors were okay, and the headlights were okay. The bonnet, it was. I think she wasn't going that hard. She just kept going over herself and landed on the back all the time,
Right. Yes.
But it was a big off. Like the actual broke the engine block as well.
Gee, right, and that had to get an engine from somewhere then in the middle of all this as well.
Aye. So I didn't actually know the engine was broke till I got the engine out. I took the engine out of her because it was lying down. So I thought it was threads pulled in the block, but it was actually broke.
Right.
So the boys pulled the engine out that night, and I rang Kieran that worked for Egg, Kevin Gallagher, and he landed, and he says, no, the block's kind of banjack. So Liam had a block there, so we pulled that out. They struck the block that night. Kieran took it away the next day, got it bored. The engine was actually back in the garage within 23 hours, ready to drop back in again, fully built. It was some turnaround.
That's a testament to Egg and all the guys there, and Kieran, and then
I think they kind of leave that week for trouble, but I didn't think they'd think
that kind of trouble.
There's a lot to do. But it was the engine was ready to drop back in, and between the car on Tuesday then was quarter panel was on her, roof was on. Something that had to be welded. So with the engine back in her on Tuesday night, we got her up and running. She was back on her feet again, and we took her down then to the paint shop, following Dermot there, Ray and McDade, and the boys started filling at her right away. The panels have been painted by this stage. So the next morning she was dry and primer. I lifted the car back, took it back to the shed, done the full alignment, changed all the arms, had it sitting pointing straight again.
Yes.
So that evening, 5:30, back down for paint. The boys started painting at about 9:15 that evening, and I lifted the car at 11 o'clock, back to the shed again with it. From there, we put her together that night. It was Wednesday night. And Thursday morning, Kieran Sweeney, and put the windscreen in, the 2 back windows and the rear window. And it was straight for stickers then, straight into the shuttle and over to Paddy Sainz in Donegal for stickers.
And before we started recording here, you said everybody lifted the phone to, yep, what can we do? Like, that's a testament to rally people, isn't it, when they do the likes of that?
Nobody said no. Everybody was, what can I do? What can I do now? That's perfect. I'll do that. It was just class. Everything, just down even to the rain for painting the car. He came up, we'll get it sorted. He says, I'll sort it the boys for pulling the back of it and get it all squared up. And they just landed it.
Yeah.
It was just done.
It was
class.
Like, if you were going in there with your road car, the likes of something like that, even to change the quarter panel, that would be like a week's work. And there you were, doing all this within an evening or whatever. It's crazy.
The Sunday night it happened. We landed to the shed, and Liam had a donor car there, pulled the car into the shed. So the boys started dissecting all the panels off that, but I needed tell them where to be cutting it, where we're going to join it. They had all the panels off. The engine was away that night. My own car was nearly all pulled out. From there, then the next day, then I had the actual panel beaters there, then just to kind of finish, touch, and line and everything. And once they had it all lined, then it was a matter of just getting it all welded up. So welded it all myself, put engine on myself, because the rest of the boys were back to work, and Liam was wrecking and was coming and going on my own there, and Philip Wasson was there for a couple of days there, giving me a hand, and just unbelievable.
And at any point, did you ever think it's never going to happen, or did you just have belief that you had to make it happen?
I seen the progress on Sunday night, and I thought, if the engine's back tomorrow, we'll make it happen. But the more then that the story got out that we had a wreck, people were saying that the car was worse than it actually was.
Okay.
And that gave me a wee bit of edge to keep going to get the car finished, Yeah, definitely. And turned up the scrutiny as on Thursday evening, just as normal would after work, and put her through. And just, I think more people were shocked that she was actually there. Like,
yes, and like it must have been a huge relief then to finally get to scrutiny, and and then Friday morning you have to start a rally after all this.
But even with on the way back from Stickers, I took the car back out to where we had the accident to get another go to see how it was going to go, because that's when I know the car at its best up there. So I thought, I have to go back. Like,
you have to get back on the horse almost as such, didn't you?
I think that's what helped us the most. We weren't that long out of the car. We're back in again, and back at it again. And I was super car. I thought she just as it was. Loaded up, went to scrutiny. Next morning started, but through the first stage, the big jumps now were getting my ribs a lot. Like, it was a lot to take in. It was sore. Like.
And like that's that's only natural, I suppose. But like to be step back and go so fast, so quickly, like you're either fastest or second fastest in every stage over the whole weekend. Like that's that takes commitment, bravery, maybe even a slight wee touch of madness.
A wee bit of everything in there mixed in another thing, but no, definitely I couldn't believe I was leading after the first stage. I thought, Jesus, if we can chip away now for the first day, I'll get over the first day, and then we can pick it up then, as we go along. I thought that would be the best way to do it. Now we had a few moments now, even on the second stage, and it was. I thought the whole thing was over again. The boys will never rebuild it in the night. But we got there. First day overs. The first three stages. On the way back to service, fella broke down, so I towed him back, and the traffic was at mad and Letterkenny, going on through traffic. I burned the clutch out of the car, towing him in, so box out. Couldn't get a clutch nowhere, and Liam had a clutch coming up the road again, and no flip wheel then. So Cal Brown landed then, and he buffed the press plate to allow everything to clamp a bit tighter. And he he grinded it down and bolted back in, got us through the next two stages. There was one cancelled. So we got through them back in that evening, and we had another service. So we had a clutch sitting there then, ready to go. The boys gearbox out again, clutch in, and we started Saturday. Saturday was okay. Got through the day there with a misfire as well. And Sunday morning or Saturday evening, and the box started making a noise. So back to Liam again. Liam had a box, got the box sitting there for Sunday morning. 25 minutes, the boys had the box changed, ready to rock. Once they had that done, we went back to change another gearbox in a Honda, so they'd actually two done on the Sunday. But unbelievable work. Like, because I was asking Aidan, what time are we out now? Like, I was getting into the car and said, we have another 12 minutes left, and I was thinking, geez,
how did they do that?
How quick did they change that gearbox, really? Like, was unbelievable.
And again, we have to keep going back to the analogy. You take a car in to get a clutch changed. It's a day and a half. For them guys to do that in 25 minutes, it's such an effort and such. It's obviously great teamwork on their part, isn't it?
Absolutely class. To even do the gearbox at home, like you're or a clutch or anything, even in that car on the lift, you're chatting 2 hours. No, you're not stressing, but it's 2 hours. Like 25 minutes is just on the ground too, and in the wet and everything.
Yes.
But every one of them just pulled out every time. Like Liam actually went out in the first stage, and when I came on then with the clutching, he was first under the car. Like, it was absolutely class. Just good sportsmanship,
Absolutely.
Very good.
So I suppose, it's vital that you pay tribute to them guys now, because, without them, you'd have been sitting with a car in the garage that you probably didn't even want to look at. But now you have a car that won the class in the Donegal Rally 2022. It's amazing.
It's amazing turnaround for that short space. Everybody just clicked together, but there's too many people to thank. Even people offering me cars, texting, anything you need lifted, I'm passing here. If you need me running, I'm off today. And Jesus, the people you wouldn't even actually be that friendly with,
Yeah.
But it's all rally people, like.
That's it.
There's about 4 or 5 cars there, like.
Jesus, that is brilliant.
It's class. I was thinking, well, if I took that car still to fix my own, it's now I have my own fixed and rally done and everything. I think it worked out all right to fix it.
We always, in this podcast, we always sort of try to, the positive side of rallying. That we've seen photos of Alistair Fisher, somebody else changing the wheel in his car. We hear the stories about Christopher Callaghan. The guys changing, fixing his car between stages. Like, this whole rallying community, it's such a strong friendship. The times on the stage is absolutely, you take some boy's hand off for 5 seconds or whatever, but between the stages and build up to events, it's so special.
Everybody's so friendly and even big friends. Like, they just compete against the clock, and that's all to it. If anybody needs anything, it's there. Like, and between times, I don't mind, even if somebody has a bit of bother, run back, give them a hand, get on. What if we can give them anything, we'll give it.
Absolutely.
It's never a problem, because you get it back of you.
Absolutely, So, we'll wrap up Donegal. What's any thoughts now for the rest of the year? And then the thought process you'd like to do?
I would like to do another 2 rallies this year, but I have a few balls to square up yet. Probably go for the Harvest. Definitely, it's the next town over this year, so it will probably be local stages as well. So I'll probably give that a go.
Yeah. Very good.
Get back in the Honda again. So
yes. Well, Kevin, thank you very much for taking the time. What a brilliant story! It's brilliant to be able to relive that story and pay tribute to the guys that's involved.
It's just there's, as I say, all the boys that helped. Everybody. There's even boys up at Axton's there, and they had bit of interest in cars, and they all landed out, and even down to Liam's wife. They're out making tea for us, 2 in the morning. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, the first evening. I get about 20 hours sleep all week. It's a testament to them, not me, really.
Like, what a phenomenal story there from Kevin. Like, he talked off air, but at one stage there was 25 guys in the garage working at different things in the car, and it's just true rallying spirit there. And he also wanted to pay tribute to his wife Natasha, who, she just let him at it, let him concentrate and get the car sorted. Like, it takes a special woman to allow him to do that as well, and let him get the car sorted and go rallying, too. So, special tribute there to Natasha as well. That's the kind of stories we need to be celebrating.
I know, they just sum up the rallying community, particularly in Ireland. People do pull together. You hear stories of spare parts being lent on rallies, or as we had the example of Alistair Fisher, where they were bleeding his brakes and changing the wheels to get him ready to go. And these are people who are competing against each other 10 minutes later.
Mhm.
It's just incredible. There's that camaraderie and that spirit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have to applaud that then. And then finally, then we caught up with Tommy O'Connell in the historics, and like Tommy, you'll hear it in his interview how much this rally meant to not only him but his father and the whole family. It's a joy to listen to. So Tommy, Donegal Rally, I suppose it's always been a very important rally for the O'Connell family. Your dad's been coming here for years, and I say it's a rally that's very close to your own heart as well, almost a local rally for you.
Oh, it would be. Yeah, I'll be 33 now in August, and I think Dad was competing back then. Whenever I was just born, everything. So it was the late 80s, early 90s. He was there, so he was rallying away, and they always wanted to do it every year, So and see me, to be honest, it's everything leads to Donegal. I don't plan to do anything other than a few rallies before Donegal. And just love to get out there, and it would be a local rally, and I would class the Donegal, the motor club, as probably my local motor club, even though they're not the closest to me, but they're still great people down there, and they always welcome me and everything. So they're great, like I really do love getting there on the Thursday evening to head to the rally, or even the recce the weekend before, or just love getting away for Donegal, and that's it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a certain buzz about it, and your dad won the historic section of the rally from 2014, 2015, and 2016. Unprecedented, like a hat trick of ones. That must hold a very special place for your dad as well.
Oh, it does surely, it does surely. And he says to me, he says, "Two more to go yet for a match." Hard getting that one there, and so it was that. That one first.
Yeah.
So he loves the historic rallying too, and see it then Atlantic Drive whenever the two seen each other and shook our hands, and it was a bit emotional now, to be honest, between the both of them.
Yes.
And he proud as I was to be proud to represent him as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you only started rallying back in 2009, really, and you started not probably the most traditional route, that you went into the historic yard right from the start.
That's it. Right from the start, I into BDA, and I never had driven a rally car, in that sort of an anger before the first day I went out on it. And even though I was running to the rallies with us, and so it was my early teens, never, or even younger, but
yes.
Whenever he came back to the rally, and I was every one of them, and I still never had driven one, in anger until the first day I went out. So it was that I do all track.
Uh-huh.
And then the Money Glass, and then I went to Kirkustown and stuff like that, but I couldn't drive, and I just had to keep learning how to drive proper a rally car then.
It's like everyone else, you have to serve your apprenticeship kind of thing on it too, don't you? So.
You do, sure. And here I'm still learning every day, and it's only now this past few years that I've actually got up to a bit of speed now, to be honest, but I don't be out that often, like throughout the years, but it takes a while to get up to speed now, to be honest.
Yeah, and you have went back, you've went and tried class 13 and class 14, and fantastic cars, no doubt about it. But I think your heart still lies to the historic car, does it?
Oh, they do, surely. Well, I started off in the historics, and then I went into the class 14 car for a couple of hours. Done Donegal, I think it was 14 and 2.4 car, and great weekends, cracking all things I got there. But I actually smashed it in the Tour of the Spearns before the Donegal, and I took a step back again, back to the BDA, so it had, and then I'm not sure what year it was, but I was doing Donegal as well in the historics. It could have been 14, and we were going over Knockall, and near then the engine blew up, and the blue car I had, and then the car lay then for a long time, so there'd be no engine, and then I was just doing wee bits and pieces back and forward, and other cars that has, and then we went for the Vauxhall engine, and we built a class 13 car, so we did it. And then, of course, you start to get a wee bit quicker and a wee bit quicker. So you needed a different gearbox, you needed the regular suspension, and you needed big brakes and big wheels, and then you're back into the big class again, But
yes.
We're getting on well at it and stuff like that. And we never really had no class ones, but it's no odds to me if I won anyway. I just out for the day's crack. If I came last, as long as I don't have the car, I'm happy enough, But
yes.
We were second in Donegal in the class 13 one year, and then we were third in the class. And then I says to Thomas, I says, "Hey, see, the next time we're in Donegal, we're going to BDA." I said, "I want to get back to that for a bit of fun and a bit of crack, And that was 2019. And then we went into 2020, and we went to the national championship in Mayo. in the class 13 car, and we slid off in the last stage or whatever. But the plan was Donegal in the class 13 car, and then definitely 21 would be BDA. But sure, the whole COVID thing came and stopped everything. So, but then this past couple of years, I kept saying next time I'm out, it'll be BDA and Donegal Historics, and I had it in my head for about 2 years there. That's the one I wanted to do.
Yes.
And no point in me lying. I was going there. I wanted to win, but I wasn't going there thinking I would win, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
The plan was to go there, and I wanted to win it, and that was it.
Aye.
Just because I had won it so many times, I wanted to do it too.
Yeah, you wanted your name in that trophy as well. And like, and what a year! Like, you know, you've all the guys that's doing the Tarmac Championship regularly, you know, and then you know the likes of Ryan Barrett through into the mix. You know, all guys that go, you know, have a lot of seat time. Maybe Ryan, maybe not so much, but Ryan goes fast, and he's surfaced like he's won the Manx Historic, and then all them regular guys. For you to step in, that has only done, I think, didn't you do Monaghan earlier in the year? Other than that, you were coming in quite cold compared to the rest.
I was, that's true enough. I just had done Monaghan. We rolled the car out from Monaghan, and we never even looked at it or checked it over. The last time that car was out was Donegal 16. Never did I won it. And we took it out to Monaghan, and we got on well there. So we did, me and Emmett Shea, so we did. And then we get the car all prepped to come to Donegal. But as you say, all them other boys were out all year. And Ryan Barrett, oh, sure, he's a phenomenal driver, so he is. And as soon as the interlist came out, he says to me, he says, if Barrett's the man to beat there, he says, he'll go hard. So we did. And then, of course, I had myself wound up, and about everybody going hard and me not be able to drive this car right, you know what I mean? Because I haven't been on a BD in years, and sure, it all came together at the end up. But hey, the boys that are on them all the time, doing the championships going well too, so they're them lads.
Mm-hmm.
They're fast, surely.
And like, you know,
there's none of them.
Yeah, like there was 10 or 12 guys. Like it's getting almost the same as, you know, the national, you know, or the main field. There's 10 or 12 guys going there, all thinking that they're going to win as well too. So it's becoming very competitive there now.
Oh, it's very competitive. I think we were seated historic 8, H8 in the number, and everybody in front of me, you know, was going hard and could possibly have won it, so they could, and a few lads behind as well. And I knew it wasn't going to be easy, so it did. And you know, but I knew I had to go there and get the foot down, you know. But here, don't get me wrong, Ryan and them boys weren't out for a while, and I had a lot of knowledge of the stages, you know, so it had compared to the other lads. So that gave me a bit of advantage now, you know, because most of the other fellas only done it once or twice, and Marion Evans was over and he hadn't done it before. And you know yourself, whenever you're going down the back of Knockalla, you sort of need to know where you're going to.
Yes.
You know.
You need full confidence in your notes and in your prep and everything. It's not like it's difficult to go there for the first time and go flat out.
Oh, it would surely. I'd be like myself going down to Clarney or something, Moss Gaps, and half them boys probably passed me in the first run up it or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of fun, anyway. So, yeah. But no, I sort of knew where I was going on, and I had probably the most experience out of everybody, and me and Martin Doherty as well, you know. But here, it's a tough class to be in. Like, we were driving really hard, like all weekend, and just staying with them boys no more in some of the stages too. So we were, so good out of fun out of it.
Yeah, and like to more or less show the speed you were at. You were setting times comparable with the guys in class 13. You know, with their bigger brakes and with their rigger suspension, and you know, like a historic spec car with the ZF box and everything else. It is crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy, yeah. Because we come off, there was an award for the fastest historic over in Knockalla, and of course, I only found out about it Wednesday. And then I love that stage as well. And I says to Thomas, "Geez, you shouldn't have told me that." I says, "More nerves for me because obviously I wanted to win that too, you know." But here we went over in Knockalla, and we were like 10 or 15 seconds ahead of some of the boys in the class 13 cars. And I says to Thomas, I says, "Geez, I couldn't even do that if I was on that Vauxhall car, so I couldn't, you know, I'd bother keeping up with them, never mind beating them." And I honestly couldn't believe it, so I couldn't. And we were coming across Knockalla. Even halfway through it, my clutch was new clutch in the car, and I started to lose the pedal halfway through. And then near the end, the brakes was going and everything, you know, because they're not as big as the modified cars, and you're using them as much, trying to go on deeper and all. And you know, it is phenomenal the pace them cars can go as well, the BDA. So it is, you know, get his eyes open too. That's second or third time was in the BD, and he couldn't believe how well they went as well. So
to sit, say, at the bottom of Knockgalla or some of them other classic stages, what is it like? Looking up that hill and seeing the crowds, and just getting that countdown. Thomas saying you're now 10. Is there just electricity flows through you almost at that point?
Oh, you're sitting down there buzzing, so you are, and just well, to be honest, I was full of nerves all weekend. So it was because obviously I wanted to get down there and have a good performance and won. I wanted to win, like no point lying, but I was a nervous wreck the first 2 or 3 stages. So it was at the start line in Knockgalla now, it's great, and some of them other lads says to me, I can't remember who it was. The story was says, "Oh, well, what's the secret to Knockgalla?" I think it was heading into the second time, when we were ready, it had been fast as over, and I says, "Oh, don't look to the left, anyway, because you just can buy all the water." But it's great now. It is great.
Yes. And leading from the get-go, is that almost more difficult than chasing the lead, or did you prefer to be in the lead and try and maintain the lead?
Well, as you say, you'd rather be chasing now, to be honest, but I was glad I was leading too, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So I was, and going out on the Sunday morning too, I said to Thomas, I never led a rally before, I never done this, or, there was a 00 in front of us, and I says, what if we catch this boy or something, or, you know what I mean?
It's all new to you.
So as I was happy enough, 4th or 5th car on the road on the Saturday, so it was, and then, just following everybody, But no, it was all new to me now, to be fair, and it was great.
And then, as you talked about, then, come to the end of the last stage in the Atlantic Drive and realising you'd done it and seeing your dad there, that has to hit you hard then, does it?
Oh, it did, surely. And see, to be honest, I absolutely hate Atlantic Drive, so it always mortally hated that stage for whatever reason. I know a lot of lads do like it, but oh geez, I hate it. So I do. But I think it's because it always was wet whenever we went over previous years, and I said to Thomas to get onto, I think we were like 18 seconds up. I says, "Oh jeepers, what a stage to be getting onto now," and you know what I mean, like
the one stage you would wish it wasn't, really,
The one stage I wish it wasn't. I knew it would happen, only me it would happen to, but well, I says to him, well, here, we're just going to have to go for it and drive as hard as we can, because it's one of them stages, if you sleep at all, you're going to get cleaned on it. Yeah. So all the two of us took off, all like madmen. It was the first stage again. I just knew I had to get through it, and up with a wee moments, but nothing major. Like, so we didn't, and we ran it, and I said to Thomas, I said, "Jeez, how did we get on?" He says, "Well, jeez, if you didn't do it that time, you'll never do it."
Yes.
So and I think we ended up on by 32 seconds or something like that. So we had took time out of the lads, or I think Michael McDavid was fun as well, but I still wasn't until I seen him coming and asked him his time, and you know what I mean.
To be sure, kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I knew I made no mistakes, and it was probably the quickest I ever went through Atlantic Drive. But I just says to myself, I probably still would get beat,
Yes.
But no, as you say, just finishing Atlantic Drive and then heading out to the downings, and he was standing waiting on us just where the road splits for the start and finish, and it was great. I couldn't wait to get down to see him now, to be fair, give him a hug.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And then to get presented then with the trophy, then with your dad's name on it and all, back at the at the prize giving and all, them's the kind of moments you need to savor. And I think if nothing else in the last few years with COVID and everything else, I think we appreciate them things far more now than we ever did before.
That's right. Well, maybe you just say the trophy. We only got a first in the class. There was no overall historic trophy.
Right. Okay.
Only got a first in the class, so I never even got a trophy with my name and his name on it. So whenever, but
yes,
that we only got first in the class trophies. But here, I'm happy enough for that too.
Yes, your name's on that list, or Roll of Honour or such. Yeah.
Name's on the full honour now.
Yes, so is there any plans from now for the rest of the year, or just go back again and pick and choose your events as at will, almost, kind of thing?
Well, so yourself, most of the rallies start to die down, after Donegal, and then so honestly, I don't really know what to bet. I never thought about it, but maybe the harvest or something like that. Back to the Donegal Motor Club again. Just to support them. No plans at all, but maybe get out again before the end of the year. We'll see, but I always want to do the RAC rally now over in England, but that's on next November.
Yes, so
that's maybe why I've rolled out the BDA again, just to get
excellent.
used to it. I've
Uh-huh.
said I would past 10 years and never did or whatever, but sure, we'll see. The next time I'm out will be the BDA again anyway, no matter what rally. So it's good fun.
Excellent.
Lovely to hear the story from Tommy there and the rivalry with his father. And, you know, the gauntlet is down. Tommy has 2 more to win to equal the father, never mind, you know, beat him. And, you know, it goes to show Donegal means so much, not just at the top level, but right across, you know, from the juniors, the Mark IIs, the modifieds, the historics. Everybody wants a piece of Donegal and, you know, wants to be there and wants to do well in the event.
Absolutely. You know, as you say, it's right from number 1 to number 161, or, you know, the guys that get in from the reserve. It's, you know, it's the one rally they all want to be in and do well, and definitely.
Yeah. And talking of doing well, definitely have to make a special mention to Aaron Johnson, who was co-driver for Takamoto, and they finished 3rd overall in the Safari Rally. And what a tough Safari Rally it was too. Like, Toyota pulled off a 1, 2, 3 and 4th place in a row finish. Just incredible. The last time they did that was 1993. Now, in 1993, the stage competitive kilometers was something like 3,000. This year, it was around 300 and something. Yeah. So, you know, it's a fraction of what it was, but it's still an endurance of both crew and car.
You know, like we've seen, you know, the images of, you know, cars with bits hanging off them and everything else. It still is an epic rally. It's not just a flat out sprint from, you know, from start to finish. It is. There's a certain element of endurance. There is an element of pacing yourself, driving to the conditions, you know, that it's not seen any other rally in the World Championship.
No, definitely not. And it is a car breaker. If you look at M Sport, they had 4 team entries, and every single one of those 4 retired at some point during the rally. And re-entered under Super Rally. So incredible. And, you know, Hyundai had their issues as well. The only car that managed to complete all of the stages was Oliver Solberg, and he had a long list of issues, you know, with that event.
It's a bonkers rally, you know. As you say, mileage way a shadow of its former self, but without a doubt, I think, you know, it's more than holds its place in the WRC, because it provides such a unique challenge that, you know, those drivers are not getting anywhere else at all, you know. So
yeah, and whilst yes, it is a shorter event, I suppose the difference, if you go back to 93, was you had specialist homologated parts for that event, whereas, what do you call it, that's not the case at the moment. Those are the same, you know, there's no additional parts added to those cars than what's on Estonia or Finland or Croatia.
Yeah, they're raised up a bit, and that's a bit the height of it.
That's it,
really,
yeah.
You know, so, yeah. So, you know, hopefully we'll talk a wee bit more about Safari next week. But this weekend we also have then is Loughball and the Moonraker, you know, 2 fantastic looking events. But again, we'll catch up more on them next week. So once again, can you please like, share, subscribe, comment, and it's all gratefully appreciated. So until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.